Okay? In lesson 3.2, 7th graders, we're going to work on multiplication and division with decimals. And there's a couple of key things when estimating with decimals. Okay? First of all, try to round it to whole numbers so that you can estimate and get a close whole number, but using a basic fact. So you don't always need to round to the nearest 10 or the nearest 100, because you can also use just single digits and multiply those. For example, 7.65. There we go. 7.65 times 3.2. Okay? What you want to do here is use a single digit to multiply. Okay? Use a single digit to multiply. So round these. Take notes. Asa, start writing. Round these to a single digit, to the nearest 1, for example. This would round to 8. And this would round to 3. So you do 8 times 3. Okay. Now, if you have a decimal point in it, so for example, let's say you have one like 3.12 times 0.02. Okay. Now, you can't multiply by 0, not when you're estimating, because otherwise you're just going to get 0. You're going to use a single non-zero digit. So you would use the 0.2, and round this number to just 3. Okay? Now, can you do 3 times 0.02? You can. You can. It's not that hard. First you do 3 times 2, which is 6. Then, whenever you're multiplying by a number behind the decimal point, you move the decimal point over. Remember when we did this last year? You move the decimal point over the same number of places that are behind the decimal point. So there's 2 places behind the decimal point. We have to move this move the decimal point 2 places, 1, 2, and then write the answer. So this is 0.06. 3 times 0.02, 0.06. Or think of it, if we added 0.02 3 times, 3 would be 246. Okay? So you want to keep the decimal point when that's just all the other numbers are 0. Keep this number and use it to multiply by the whole number. Okay? Now, it's a little bit trickier with division. You have to use compatible numbers with division. So for division, write this down. Use compatible numbers. That's supposed to say compatible. Now, what are compatible numbers with division? 2 and what? 2 2 and any number that 2 goes into. 2 and 6 are compatible. Good. Because 6 is divisible by 2. Great.
Anything and it's like, I can't remember the word. It's anything that times something times that number can make a number. That number can go back to the number you times.
Okay, how about in division? We can say if the number goes in evenly without a remainder, then those two numbers are compatible. Okay? So 15 and 5 are compatible. But 16 and 5 are not compatible. So if you have a number that's close to 16, but you're dividing it by 5, you should round it to 15 instead. Okay? That's what using compatible numbers means. Here's an example. 1.5, sorry, let's see here. 38.9 divided by 1.79. 38.9 divided by 1.79. Write down this example.
Sounds like a
Okay.
radio station.
Now, we don't want to round this to 39 because 39 is not compatible with anything in here. Okay? What's the nearest whole number? 2. So we need to round this to a number that's divisible by 2. Either 38 or 40, right?
40.
40 divided by 2 would work. Or 38 divided by 2 would work. So either of these is correct. The point is we have to choose a number that's divisible by 2. Okay? That's what using compatible numbers means. Now, one of the things that you'll have to do with this lesson is check to see if an answer is reasonable. Okay? And so using multiplication or division, you'll have to see if the estimate is reasonable, if it's close. And most of the time, if the decimal point is in the right place, then it's reasonable. Where you'll get mixed up with these is if you have the decimal point in the wrong place. So instead of having 2, you have 20 as your answer. Okay? If you have 20 as your answer, then you probably have the decimal point wrong. No, you'll pay $20 instead of 2. So, let's start with the first one. It says determine whether the product or quotient is reasonable. Start with the first one. And round those to use front-end estimation. Okay? So, $62.77 times 29.8. If we use front-end estimation, what would that be? 60 times 30, which would give us about 18. No, both zeros go into the answer. So is that reasonable? The answer 187? No. Again, what's wrong? The decimal point. Exactly. The decimal point's in the wrong place. And that's usually the case. That's usually the problem when it's not reasonable. Look at the next one. 16.132 divided by 2.96. Okay? Johnny? What would you round the first number to? No. 16. 16 and 3. But are those compatible? No. What would be compatible with 3? Either 15 or 17 is not divisible by 3. But the next one, 18 is. Yep. So then look at the answer. 54.5. Is that reasonable?
No.
Again, the decimal point is wrong. If we divide these, this would be about 5. Or if we divide it by 18, it would be about 6. So the decimal point's in the wrong place. Okay?
We're supposed to put the decimal point in this one?
No. Oh, it does say, if not, find a reasonable result. Yes, so use these answers that we're finding and write those down instead. Okay? Any questions? So we talked about finding a reasonable answer, rounding using front-end estimation, or using compatible numbers. Okay? So finish that page and then do the book assignment.